This is the Skyloong GK87 Pro mechanical keyboard. In this video, I'm going to tell you why this now might be my new everyday keyboard. Let's get into it. If you've been following my channel for a while, you know I love my key crown keyboards. I've tried and reviewed a number of other keyboards, but I seem to be always going back to the key crown keyboards, especially their Pro line of products. My name is Patrick, and this is Everyday Tech for everyday people. And today we're taking a look at the GK87 Pro by Skyloong. Now, full disclosure, Skyloong did reach out to me, asked me if I would like to review this keyboard. Although they did send this to me for free, you're not seeing this video before it goes up. All my opinions are my own. The first thing that you'll notice about this keyboard is how hefty and how well built it is. The frame is a combination of metal and plastic and feels super well built and put together. Everything about the build feels premium. There are 3 different ways to connect to this keyboard. First, it can be a wired keyboard via the USB-C cable. This is also the way you charge the keyboard as well. Next, it supports Bluetooth, which you can switch and connect up to 2 different devices. Switching between the 2 devices is very easy. You hold down the function key and then the number 1 or number 2. Lastly, you can connect wirelessly through a USB receiver, which is cleverly stored at the right side of the keyboard. There's this magnetic cover that hides the receiver from view. Switching between these 3 ways of connecting is done by a single switch found on the back next to the USB-C port. Now, one thing that I love about the key crown keyboards is that they support Mac layouts right out of the box. There's an actual dedicated switch, physical switch on the key crown keyboards to switch between the different operating system layouts. Now, this keyboard doesn't have a dedicated switch, but at least there's a dedicated Mac mode that can be activated with a keyboard shortcut. You hold down function and the number 6, and that puts it into Windows mode, and the function 7 puts it into Mac mode. This is useful if you're switching back and forth between a Windows and Mac computer. This is an RGB backlit keyboard. You can toggle between different backlit presets that are constantly running, or you can choose between reactive modes where the backlit reacts to your key presses. This can be also controlled with different keyboard shortcuts. So function minus toggles between the constantly running patterns. Function plus toggles between the different reactive presets. Function 9 toggles on and off the backlit. Function left or right arrow keys control the speed of the patterns. Function up and down controls the brightness of the backlit. Now, although you can switch between the different modes or patterns, the one thing I wish I could do via the keyboard shortcut is toggle through the different colors and not just the patterns. You could definitely do more customization through the software, but I try not to rely on software by itself. The backlight itself can be very bright and making the keys very visible in dark environments. The keycaps that it came with, at least with this variation, are not shine-through keycaps, but they do sell variations that do, or you can just buy other keycaps that allow the backlight to shine through the keys. The keyboard has a 7200 milliamp hour battery for long battery life. I'm not testing out the battery life in this video, but the battery life seems to be holding up in my short bit of testing. It does have 1000 Hertz polling rate, has hot swappable switches. They did ship me the brown switches, which I do prefer, and I'm able to test and do a direct comparison with my other keyboards. Let's talk about the few things that really make this keyboard special and stand out compared to other mechanical keyboards. In addition to your usual keycaps, this keyboard comes with 3 programmable knobs. Now, each knob not only can be turned left and right, but it can also be pressed as a button. I've left the right 2 knobs at their default. So the right knob is the volume control. Of course, twisting the knob adjusts the volume up and down, but pressing it mutes and unmutes the sound. The middle knob is set to control the brightness of the backlight. We can also toggle the backlight on and off by pressing it as well. I've reconfigured the left knob, so when I turn it, it activates either the left or right arrow keys. This is especially useful when I'm skimming through YouTube videos. And then I've configured the press to be the play and pause as well. Now, I'll get more into the configuration when I get into the software, but these knobs are very useful. And you can buy 3 additional knobs, giving you a total of 6 knobs. You just replace them out of any of the keycaps themselves. If you don't want any knobs, you can just take out the knobs and replace them with also other keys and keycaps. So it's really versatile. The second standout feature is the ability to put an LCD screen on the keyboard. Now, unfortunately, I won't be able to test this out in this video. They did send me their updated 2.0-inch LCD screen, but they didn't ship it with the 4-pin connectors required to make it work. But the LCD screen gives you the ability to see some general information such as the time, the battery life of the keyboard, but you can also customize it with your own photos, loop through some animated GIFs. In addition to switching out the keycaps on your keyboard, this is another great way to customize and personalize this keyboard to make it your own. To manage the LCD screen and the contents on there, there is an additional piece of software. I've been using this keyboard exclusively for the past couple weeks, and this is the best typing experience I've had with a mechanical keyboard ever. First, the sound. It has that sound that many keyboard enthusiasts look for, that thocky sound. I'm not a keyboard expert, enthusiast, or even a hobbyist, so I know there's another level of sound and feel that I can get from a keyboard. This has been the best that I've tried so far. Yeah, this is even better than the Skyloong GK87 Pro that I reviewed a long time ago. Now, I gave that to a friend shortly after I reviewed that keyboard, so I can't do a direct comparison, but I like that keyboard because of the actuation and feel of just the key presses itself, but it didn't reach that level of sound that this keyboard does. Here we are in the GK6 Plus app from Skyloong that you can download for them. This is version 1.0.0.24. This is by far the weakest and most frustrating part of this keyboard. It's a shame because everything else about the keyboard is great. There is a newer version, 0.25, but when I downloaded and ran that one, I lost my configuration of my knobs up here, and I couldn't figure out how to change them from regular buttons to configuring them as knobs. This might be just a product of being a Mac version. Maybe the Windows version is better. I don't know, but I'm running a Mac, so this is what you're going to get. In this screen, you can configure the buttons, and since these top three are configured as knobs, I can go into each one of these little areas. Here, you select the area that you want or the kind of function that you want to configure. In this case, this is when you turn the knob left, and I made it the left arrow. This is when you turn the knob right. This is when you press on the knob. So I've already configured that the way I want it to. After you do that, then you hit apply. A lot of these different configuration functions, you can actually remap them in macOS themselves, and maybe you don't need a piece of software like this. but I wanted to be able to also configure my RGB backlighting, and I can't figure out how to do it. It's like not letting me here. It's kind of grayed out here, and I'm not sure what LE files are, but when I do a little bit of a configuration here, it's not applying or showing up on my physical keyboard, and I don't see any kind of applying in this screen. This is definitely a very weak part of this whole experience with this keyboard. What do I think of the Skyloong GK87 Pro mechanical keyboard? At the beginning of the video, I said that this might be my new everyday keyboard. Well, is it? Yep. And here's the reasons why. First, it's the typing experience and typing feel. It has that thocky feel, that great sound, great feel when typing. Next, I didn't know how much I would really love using those knobs. I mainly use it for very simple tasks, mainly for media control. But in the future, I could really use it for more advanced features, such as Photoshop adjustments and even in Final Cut Pro. Overall, I'm really surprised that this has replaced my Keychron keyboards as my everyday keyboard. Of course, you do get what you pay for. This is at a little bit more premium price. Now, some may not like the keycaps that come with this variation of the GK87, so you could get another different variation or replace the keycaps, but I think the backlight on this keyboard is bright enough and sufficient enough. I'm also a little disappointed that I wasn't able to try out the LCD screen, but I expect a follow-up video in the future. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button. Consider hitting that subscribe button. Until the next one, see ya.